Hello and welcome back. First, it was BLM going belly up, and now there are serious concerns that America's top racism guru has squandered tens of millions of dollars. Dr. Ibram X. Kendi has made a fortune lecturing white liberals on how hateful they are, thanks to his best-selling 2019 book, How to Be Anti-Racist. Watch.
Wake up. I want to do that Lawrence Fishburne at the beginning of, or rather at the end of school days, where he yells, wake up. I might add that. So producer, please add that to the beginning of this video. Wake up! So this is an early morning live. I've barely had my coffee. My coffee is sitting right here. I've hardly woke up, but I've got something fun today. Oh my gosh. Shout out to a subscriber, Latanya Yarbrough, who sent me this. This is a blessing to my life this early in the morning. Ibram X. Kendi. You all know how I feel about him. You all know that I believe that Henry Rogers is an unequivocal fraud. I do not believe in anti-racism. I don't believe that there's any place, any space for anti-racism to be found in Christ's church. The teaching is a fraud. It's antichrist. Truthfully, if the church is the redeemed, those who've been called out of the world into the body of Christ, then there shouldn't be schisms and isms that anti-racism would even touch, because that would be sin. It's called partiality. So Ibram X. Kendi, I've said it before, is a fraud. He's a whole cloth fraud. So not going to parse those words. I'm going to stand by them. And guess what? Today, I'm vindicated. I'm vindicated. My words have been vindicated. And we're going to talk about it. I do want to encourage you, take the time today to read 2 Timothy chapter 6, where Paul admonishes Timothy about those who go after false teachings and those who love money. Because boy, oh boy, this one is it. Hey, good to see you. Grace and peace. Atlanta since 82. Good to see you. Hey, wait, did I see you this weekend at G3? Hold on. We might need to have a conversation. I just thought about that. I don't think I saw you. So we might have to have a little discussion after the show. But Paul is admonishing Timothy. And I'm just giving a summary because I do want to encourage you to read 1 Timothy chapter 6, where he talks about those who love money and they go after and chase after false teachings. They go after and they chase after error doctrine. Because guess what? That's what Ibram X. Kendi has done. Let's go.
Welcome back. First, it was BLM going belly up, and now there are serious concerns that America's top racism guru has squandered tens of millions of dollars. Dr. Ibram X. Kendi has made a fortune lecturing white liberals on how hateful they are, thanks to his best-selling 2019 book, How to Be Anti-Racist. Watch.
Well, I'm actually teaching people to see racism. There's a difference. Like the race is a mirage, but racism is real. And it's, you know who's the most likely to be harmed by racism? Our children. And you know who we're the least likely to engage about it? Our children. Our children. You know, yes. That's what's really propelling me to do this work.
Oh, he's really doing the Lord's
He's doing
work.
the work.
After the death of George Floyd, Boston University hired Dr. Kendi as a professor and allowed him to raise tens of millions of dollars to start an anti-racist center, a research center. Well, that was a huge mistake. The college has launched an inquiry into the center over the allegations of financial mismanagement. It has only produced 2 research papers since it started and just had to lay off half the staff. A former employee describes Dr. Kendi as some sort of power-drunk tyrant. One professor who works there is asking, what happened to the money? Quote, it's pretty hard for me to imagine. They blew through $30 million in 2 years. We have reached out to Dr. Kendi for comments. We have not heard back. That's very surprising.
All right. So you see right there, the anti-racism fraud is being shown to be exactly that, a fraud. Now, I don't know what goes into writing a research paper. I do want to give respect there. I don't know what all goes into writing a research paper. I don't know if it takes multiple millions of dollars to write a paper or research a topic. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. But $30 million, that's crazy. And to be negative $30 million, down $30 million, and having to fire half of your staff, because at one point they had almost 45 people on staff. Now they got less than 25. That's crazy. So in order for all that to happen in 2 years, yeah, there's some suspectness. But I again tell you, critical race theory is a fraud. It's a sham. It is. It's a cult. And so we see this right here. But it's not just Fox. It's not just Fox that's talking about it. This is the Daily Mail. Daily Mail talks about it. And for some reason or another, I like the Daily Mail. So I'm going to read their article on this topic. So let's go. Boston University announces probe into woke author Henry Rogers' anti-racism center over claims he was a bad boss. Now, it's interesting to me also that lots of conversation about him being a bad boss. You'll see him not delegating authority properly, things like that. So it seems like there was a lot of shenanigans going on, and plus the money. So it seems like there's a lot of shenanigans going on in Ibram X. Kendi's or Henry Rogers Center. So let's keep going. Boston University has announced an inquiry into Henry Rogers Center for Anti-Racism Research amid claims of exploitative working conditions and bad management. Notice they don't even talk about money yet. Complaints were received after the celebrity author laid off up to 20 of the organization's staff of 45 last week. Kendi, who won awards for his ultra-woke bestseller, How to Be an Anti-Racist, is now under a formal investigation by Boston University over his research center's culture and grant management practices. Full stop right there. I am going to be, I'm going to be a prophet. I guarantee you, they will be racist if they fire Ibram X. Kendi or they punish him for the lack of transparency or losing these funds. Ibram X. Kendi will come out that Boston University is racist. Okay? I'm just saying it here now. It is September 26th. It is entirely too early in the morning. I am going to say that right now. Ibram X. Kendi will call Boston University racist if they come down with any kind of censor, any kind of punishment, any kind of slap on the hand for the way he's handled money. All right, I said it here. Let us go. Rachel LaPelle, associate vice president, said, "We received complaints after the Center for Anti-Racist Research recently laid off a number of employees. Those complaints focus on the center's culture and its grant management practices, aka money. Where is the money, Ibram?" And you know what? I just thought about it. Jamar Tisby works for them. So I wonder where Jamar Tisby, did he get fired? Because I know he worked for Ibram X. Kendi. "We previously initiated an examination of those grant management practices, and that will continue. Based on additional information provided to us, we are expanding our inquiry to include the center's management culture and its faculty and staff's experience with it." Okay. Henry Rogers is in trouble. "We recognize the importance of Dr. Kendi, aka Henry Rogers' work and its significant impact it has had on anti-racist thinking and policy." Please, full stop again. Remember, Ibram X. Kendi is the one that wants to start a federal department of anti-racism. He wanted to be at the federal level. Can you imagine if he can't? Imagine what he'd have done if he'd been able to get involved with that. Just something to think about. "We recognize," I already said that, "Boston University and Henry Rogers believe strongly in the center's mission. And while he takes strong exception to the allegations made in recent complaints and media reports, we look forward to working with him as we conduct our assessment." I promise you, he's going to come out and say that they're racist. It comes after former staff at the ailing organization spoke out against exploitative work practices. Former assistant director of narrative at the center, Sadia Grundy, told the Boston Globe she was often asked to work unreasonable hours. She said, "It became very clear after starting that this was exploitative, and other faculty experienced the same and worse." Spencer Piston, faculty led the center's policy office, told the publication that problems began very early on, with Kendi given too much authority. Philippe Copeland, Copeland, a professor at Boston University social work, claimed he found it difficult to schedule meetings with Kendi, while others described paralysis due to Kendi's inability to delegate. In recent months, Kendi had been on leave from the center, according to Boston University. I'm interested in that right there. Why was he on leave? Was he doing like a book tour, or why was he on leave? That just seems interesting because they're going to say that he came back off of leave to do the laying off. The layoffs were announced last Wednesday as a means of the center to move toward a fellowship model. Now, I don't know what a fellowship model is, but we're going to continue. The center was established by Kendi, who made his name with his best-selling How to Be an Anti-Racist in 2019. In the wake of the turbulence protests surrounding the police killing of George Floyd, Henry Rogers' hiring announcement was followed by an influx of donations to Boston University to support the center and Kendi's work. I just want to say, Boston University is not innocent in this matter. They're just as complicit by hiring this fraud in the beginning. They knew he was a fraud. They knew good and well he was a fraud. They knew the anti-racism in that book was a fraud. They hired him because they wanted to showcase, they wanted to stunt, and now they're on the bad side of that. I'm just saying. Including a $1.5 million 3-year gift from the biotech company Vertex and $10 million donation from Twitter founder Jack Dorsey. But many of the center's projects have yet to materialize, including a racial data tracker, which would monitor nationwide racial disparities. What in the world is that? Is it like a smart tag? What in the world is a racial data tracker? This is just somebody trying to make themselves seem useful. There's nothing involved. It's nothing. It is a giant nothing, and y'all got tricked. That rascal ran off with that money. In recent months, he had been on leave from Boston University, according to the Globe, but returned last week to conduct the layoffs. In addition to his work, now this was interesting right here at the center. Kendi has created an anti-racist graphic novel, podcast, and television show. It doesn't take that much it doesn't take $30 million to do a graphic novel. It doesn't. And I want somebody to show me the graphic novel. As a matter of fact, I'll review it. If somebody can get me a copy of Ibram X. Kendi's anti-racist graphic novel, I'm going to the bookstore today with Chief Executive Second Born. If I find it, or if anybody else finds it, if you want to, send it to me. I will absolutely review it. I'll send you my address and you can send it to me and I will review it. Podcast, I'm telling you right now, I can attest, it does not take $30 million to start a podcast. Trust me. It doesn't take $30 million to start a podcast. So what is he doing? And a TV show. Anybody seen this TV show? What TV show? And maybe I missed it. Ibram X. Kendi has a television show? Okay. His work became a cultural flashpoint within the country after he infamously implied white people should face discrimination if it helps achieve equity for minorities. Kendi has defended his viewpoint and believes it is important to educate people on anti-racist thinking and the persistence of the horrific prejudice faced by Black Americans. All right, that is it. I am looking forward to Ibram X. Kendi being called on the carpet about his mishandling and just being a fraud. I want more people to actually admit and acknowledge this guy's a fraud. He is a whole bona fide fraud. If you don't believe he's a fraud, that's perfectly fine. But he is a fraud. That's all I'm going to say. He's just a fraud. And if you sit there and believe Henry Rogers for any other thing besides the fact that he's a fraud, that's your fault, in my opinion.